Hello, my name is Maria. I'm currently completing my student placement at For a Safer Space organization. I am a fourth-year university student completing my Bachelor of Social Work at Ryerson University. Before beginning my book presentation, I would like to acknowledge that For a Safer Space is located on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Mississaugas of the New Credit First Nation. We acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit and that we are all treaty people. We are grateful to be working and living on this. I previously made a presentation introducing the first chapter for the book We Have Always Been Here, a queer Muslim memoir by author Samra Habib. As a child in Lahore, Pakistan, Samra Habib was fascinated by a woman who saw on the street with a shaved head and a motorcycle. This woman was unlike the other women Samra was surrounded with as a child, who were greatly limited by gender expectations. For example, Samra's mother was expected to be a religious wife and mother, and even had her name changed by Samra's father without her consent. Despite the surrounding patriarchal society, Samra's parents were never upset by the fact that they had 3 daughters before having a son. Samra grew up in a small apartment in a working-class neighborhood of Lahore. Although her father would show occasional tenderness, Samra and her mother and siblings were only free to laugh or dance when he was. Chapter 2. Samra is one of 3 daughters. She paints a rich picture of her life growing up in Pakistan. She maintains a challenging but loving relationship with her father, with whom she shares a passion for architecture and interior design. This chapter talks about religious oppression in Pakistan. The Ahmadi sect has a long history of being treated poorly at the hands of the Pakistani government. In 1977, Ahmadis Muslims were declared non-Muslim. The sect, to which Samra's families belong to, started to suffer lots of violence and injustice. There were lots of attacks by grenades and rifles, and many Ahmadi Muslims killed. She recalled during her 7th birthday how religious minorities, like the one her family was part of, were especially vulnerable. Samra describes the date of her birthday, and during the scene, her mother appears as a portrait of resilience and complexity. She managed to throw Habib a birthday party even as riots break out in the family's neighborhood. Samra Habib has spent most of her life searching for the safety to be herself. As an Ahmadi Muslim growing up in Pakistan, she faced regular threats from Islamic extremists who believe the small dynamic sect to be blasphemous. From her parents, she internalized the lesson that revealing her identity could put her in critical danger. By the late 1980s, things grew even more unsettling for Ahmadis in Pakistan. In the 1990s, the attacks continued on Ahmadis mosques and by the government-sponsored discrimination toward Ahmadis. The father started to make arrangements for the family to leave the country. As acts of violence against Ahmadis escalate, Samra's father decided to move the family to Canada in 1990. Canada sounded like an appealing place for the family to resettle because of its reputation for welcoming people like them. So the family moved to Canada. She was 10 years old at that time. It was really challenging for her to adjust to a new place because during her journey of self-discovery, Sandra realized that maybe the fact of belonging to a religious minority taught her to hide her identity. It meant that hiding was a survival strategy to keep her going because her life might be compromised otherwise. Here are some quotes from Sandra. Hiding was a theme I encountered in my life. I think it's connected to the fact that my family was part of this religious minority in Pakistan. It was thrilling to us that we cannot reveal our religious identity because our lives might be compromised. It was while writing this book that I realized that even when it came to embracing the fact that I am queer, I was hiding for a long time. With this, I conclude my presentation for Chapter 2. There will be lots of challenges that Samra will face in her new country, Canada. These challenges will be discussed in my next presentation for Chapter 3. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful